A boy who faced a giant and won, not with strength, but with faith. It's a story that's echoed through time, whispering courage to anyone facing impossible odds. On one side, the Philistines, fierce warriors worshiping false gods. On the other, the Israelites, God's chosen people, trembling under King Saul's command. I've imagined standing there, heart pounding, as a shadow looms across the battlefield, a 9-foot giant named Goliath. His bronze armor glints, his voice booms, mocking God and Israel. For 40 days he taunts, "Send one man to fight me." No one moves. Fear grips the camp. I've pictured him, barely a teen, sent by his father Jesse to bring food to his brothers at the battlefront. He's no soldier, no muscles, no reputation, just a kid with a sling. Wandering through the camp, he hears Goliath's insults. 1 Samuel 17:26 captures his shock. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? Will rescue me from this Philistine. I've been moved by his faith, trusting God's past victories to carry him now. Saul relents, dressing David in his own armor. But it's too heavy. David sheds it, choosing 5 smooth stones and his sling. I've questioned, why 5 stones? If he trusted God, wouldn't one be enough? Maybe doubt crept in, or maybe he was prepared for more enemies. Either way, his faith outweighs his fear. I've felt that spark of indignation, hearing someone mock what's sacred. David's not afraid, he's angry, not for himself, but for God. Then a boy steps forward, David, a shepherd with no armor, just a sling and faith. I've wondered, did the reward tempt David? Some say he acted for selfish gain, only moving after hearing the prize. But I see more. 1 Samuel 16:13 tells us God chose David, anointing him to replace Saul. His heart was God's, even if rewards sweetened the deal. David tells his brothers he'll fight. They scoff, but he insists, brought before Saul. I've imagined Saul's disbelief. A boy against a giant? Suicide. This is his story, and it's yours too when giants stand in your way. If you've ever felt small against life's challenges, stay until the end. This could light a fire in your soul. Let's step into the valley. David's not relying on armor or swords, but on God. Have you ever let go of safe options to trust something bigger? That's where David stands, walking into the valley, a boy against a giant. 1 Samuel 17:5-7 describes him. He wore a bronze helmet and a coat of scale armor. His spear's shaft was like a weaver's rod. He's not just tall, he's terrifying, a wall of strength no Israelite dares face. I've felt that fear, facing problems too big to handle, debt, loss, failure. Have you ever stared at a giant in your life, feeling small and helpless? Picture a dusty valley, 2 armies staring each other down. The giant's shadow, I've pictured Goliath, a monster from Gath, his javelin slung across his back, his helmet gleaming. For 40 days, Goliath taunts Israel, cursing their God. The Israelites, led by Saul, the tallest man among them, cower. I've wondered why Saul, adorned in royal armor, hesitates. He's the king, the obvious choice, yet fear paralyzes him. The Philistines, skilled in ironwork, boast weapons and chariots, but the valley's rocky terrain stalls their advance. Goliath's challenge a one-on-one duel seems like their best move. He's invincible, or so he thinks. I've seen pride like that, in myself or others, believing no one can touch us. But God sees differently. A boy named David. Enter David, a shepherd boy, not a warrior. Whispers spread. Saul's desperate, offering his daughter and tax exemption to whoever kills Goliath. Faith over armor, David recounts slaying a lion and bear to protect his sheep, saying, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion." I've felt that choice, rejecting what the world offers status, security, for what God provides. The battle that wasn't Goliath laughs. insulted. Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? He roars. He curses David, promising to feed him to the birds. I've heard taunts like that. Voices saying, "You're too small, too weak." But David's unshaken. You come against me with sword and spear, he says, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hand. I've faced giants' fear, failure doubting, but moving forward. David's story says you don't need to be fearless, just faithful. Have you ever taken a step unsure but trusting God? It's God choosing the weak to shame the strong. I've felt small, unworthy, yet God's used me when I trusted him. 1 Samuel 17:47 says, "The battle is the Lord's." That's the secret. You don't need armor, just faith. I've prayed, scared but sure, and seen God move. Maybe your giant's fear, debt, or a dream that feels impossible. God's whispering, "I'm with you." Will you pick up your stones and trust him? David's story isn't about luck or rewards. It is about a God who fights for you when you step out in faith. Hebrews 11:32-33 lists David among faith's heroes, who through faith conquered kingdoms. His victory points to Jesus, the ultimate David, defeating sin's giant on the cross. John 16:33 says, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world." I've found peace, knowing Jesus fights my battles when I surrender to him. That's where victory begins. I've felt chills, picturing his courage, not in himself, but in God. I've felt my heart lift, knowing God's power in my weakness. What's your giant today? Share in the comments. I'm facing my Goliath with faith. Your story could inspire someone. Goliath charges, but David runs to meet him. I've imagined the valley silent, all eyes on this mismatch. David slings a stone whizzing. Precise it sinks into Goliath's forehead. The giant crashes dead. Gasps echo. David, unflinching, takes Goliath's sword and cuts off his head. The Philistines flee. Israel pursues, claiming victory. 1 Samuel 17:51 says, "When the Philistines saw that their hero was dead, they turned and ran." Share this with one person. It might be their spark to trust God. You stayed until the end. Thank you. You're not alone against your giants. Pick up your stones, trust Jesus, and I'll see you next time. The battle is his. I've cheered, seeing God's power through a boy's faith. Why 5 stones? Some call it luck, a fluke shot. Others say David's 5 stones showed doubt, hedging his bets. I've wrestled with this. If he trusted God, why not 1 stone? Maybe he doubted, human like us. Or maybe he was ready for Goliath's brothers, as 2 Samuel 21:22 hints at other giants. But I believe it's faith, not doubt. David trusted God, but prepared practically. Proverbs 21:31 says, "The horse is made ready for battle, but victory rests with the Lord." I've learned faith isn't reckless. It's bold but wise. The stones remind me we don't need perfect faith, just enough to act. A timeless lesson. This isn't just about a boy and a giant. It's about you, facing your battle's addiction, heartbreak, doubt. The world says you need strength, status stuff. God says, trust me. David didn't win because he was big. He won because his God was. Psalm 23:4, written later by David, says, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." I've clung to that, facing my own giants, knowing God's bigger. The David versus Goliath phrase is everywhere: sports, business, life, cheering the underdog. But it's more. Facing your giants today? What's your Goliath? I faced mine: a job loss, a broken relationship, feeling like David, unarmed but called. This story lives. Your part in the story. You've walked through David's valley, seen a boy topple a giant with faith. If this moved you, Subscribe for more Bible stories to fuel your courage.